On this episode of the Star Trek Universe podcast, we are talking all about the trailer for Star Trek Lower Decks, right after this ad that we have no control over.
Welcome to the Star Trek Universe podcast. My name's Matthew Carroll.
I'm David C. Robertson.
Dave-O, how you doing, buddy?
I don't know. I'm just sort of here, and it feels so much like we just did this, but we didn't do quite this. We did the home con with Sean Ray, and I was sort of just like, yeah, we just did a Star Trek cast, and then I look up, I'm like, no, we didn't.
Nope.
It's been a really long time.
Been a real long time. So happy to be back talking about Star Trek. There's been not anything new for a while, so we've been taking a little break, getting into other things. But it is time, my friends, to talk about a brand new trailer, and I'm really excited about it.
And soon a brand new show.
It's so soon.
August 6th, man.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I didn't expect it so soon, especially just now getting a trailer. I thought it was going to be like, sometimes you get a trailer 6 months, a year before a thing, and this is crazy.
I am wondering if they didn't scramble this around some, because for so long we hadn't heard anything about a release, and then it was, I wonder if COVID and everything kind of put off Discovery.
Yeah, so they wanted to get something else up. That would make a lot of sense. And, it's very possible. So, let's get into the meat of the trailer. What do you think, man? What do you think of I guess the tone is the weirdest thing, to me, anyway. What do you think?
Yeah, it feels like, as we might have surmised, and I'm sure we did.
Who knows? It was so long ago.
I'm not going back and listening to those old episodes. But it feels very much like Rick and Morty.
It does.
Or Solar Opposites, if those shows weren't funny.
Oh, you didn't think it was funny? I thought there were some moments.
I thought there was one line that made me laugh, and the rest of it I was stone-faced, and I was sad about that. And I'm hoping it's just a case of an ill-cut trailer.
Sure. Well, for one thing, I don't think comedy often works in trailers. Like, sometimes it does, but depending on how contextual the comedy is. And I do think that, to me, this does not feel Rick and Morty-esque. I mean, yes, like a little bit. It is sci-fi, and it is sort of like, irreverent or whatever. But I also find it a little more like, I don't know, a little more childish and jump around and maybe like Family Guy-esque than that. I don't know.
It's some strange middle ground between,
or like American Dad, maybe that whole genre. I don't know.
It is somewhere in between the Orville and Rick and Morty. Or really, Orville and Solar Opposites.
See, and that's what interests me is the idea that it is. I could see this trailer being similar to the Orville original trailers, but Orville turned out to be this great show with a lot of complexity and a lot of non-comedy value. And so I'm hoping from this that we will get that, but I'm not seeing from this trailer. It seems like it's only going to be comedy almost. That is how it's being advertised to us.
It is how it's being advertised to us, and even a show like Rick and Morty has a lot of emotional weight to it.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to every episode of Rick and Morty because I never know what I'm going to get, and I like Mike McMahon. He did pretty much put this together, and he's show running this series, and he co-created, and I think he might be show running Solar Opposites. So I'm thinking more in line with that is what we're going to get. But so I'm really hoping that some of this is just ill timing on the trailer's part, because I just feel like the trailer's just sort of inundating us with, look at this wacky thing, laughs, silliness, and I want I maybe could have done with a clip or something. Just give me like a real feel for the show. Don't throw wackiness at me all the time.
Yeah, that's always a problem with trailers. I mean, that's a common issue with trailers.
I agree.
People that want a comedy show, this trailer would work great for them. I do think there's a number of funny lines. The idea of a second contact and then being excited, that was a really solid second contact. Like,
yeah.
That is a really good joke. It's a good Star Trek reference and a good joke. I love the idea of a less prestigious crew being so excited about a second contact. Like, that's really, really funny. And this is I feel like this is kind of a trite joke, but I like the holodeck waste removal.
I did write that down.
That was a funny joke. I liked even the him doing his own version of a captain's log. That's funny. It's got its things. Like, it's kind of charming in that way, but like I don't know. If it was not Star Trek, I don't think this would interest me at all. So that's kind of a problem. Yeah,
that's one of my issues. I don't think I'd be interested. The only reason I would be interested is from Mike McMahon.
Right. I watched A Little Solar Opposites at your recommendation, and it did not hook me.
Oh no, I never meant to say that it was going to hook you like Rick and Morty.
Right. So like the thing that I love, I don't watch much animation at all.
It's a fun 8 episodes, and I really like the People in the Wall story. That was my favorite.
I don't even think I got that far.
Oh my god, no! You need to get.
I watched like the first 2, maybe 1 or 2.
Oh yeah, you gotta plow through those 8 episodes, dude. Because once it gets to like the People in the Wall,
I'll try. I will try again. But if a show doesn't hook me in 2 episodes, like I'm out, like if I spend an hour on something and like, there's too much great TV that like, maybe if something has a few seasons and people are like, it is the best thing ever. But even like you said, like of course it's not going to hook you like Rick and Morty. I'm like, well, then what am I even doing here? Like there's plenty of things out there right now that will hook me.
Well, I'm telling you this, like, the one of the alien kids, he has a shrink ray and he shrinks people. He'll just find random people or people that piss him off and he shrinks them.
I did see that actually.
And he puts them in like this big terrarium in the side of his wall.
I did.
And
I saw that.
They start like going further and further into that world and like exploring that up until at some point near the end, there's an entire episode where it's just like the people in the wall and how their lives are panning out. And in the background, you see what would normally be the A plot going on.
Right.
And you're just like, what the hell is this? They have a bear? What is happening?
Yeah. I love that kind of storytelling. I think that's a really funny joke. But yeah, I didn't love that show enough to like stick with it. The thing that leads me to love Rick and Morty is I think Harmon. Like I really love Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
And Justin Roiland. I mean, I think they're comedy geniuses, but also they have a certain pathos about them, like as human beings.
Right.
They're like, and they really infuse that into the Rick character and the Morty character. Like, and I hope that this Lower Decks can manage that. I hope it just doesn't go for all comedy. Now the thing is, I don't care if it's funny. Like I feel like, every time we talk about things we want about Star Trek, it's like, I feel like we're complaining about good things most of the time. It's like, man, it's Star Trek, but it was so much action. And like, or at least it sounds that's what we're complaining about, but it never is. No. It's like, I want substance undergirding all of the fun or all of the funny or all the action or whatever. Like, I just want it to be substantive on top of that. I also really liked the stun setting joke.
I did not like that. I thought it was obvious.
Yeah, sure. But it may be obvious, but we've never seen it before. We've never had a show that allowed us to have that that second or that joke, and I really liked it.
Not specifically about phasers, but I feel like I've seen that joke a number of times using different
weaponry.
Yeah, I've been like weirdly frustrated and conflicted because I didn't find it funny, and it gave me concern for the show, but at the same time, like, I have seen people angrily post, "That's not Star Trek." And I'm like, that's a stupid statement. Because the trouble with Tribbles is about as comedy and hammy as it gets. Star Trek 4, the Voyage Home, is almost nothing but comedy in places.
Sure. I would say that all those are still somewhat substantive stories, I guess.
They are.
That's the thing. I guess we don't know. Based on this trailer, I understand why people would be like, that's not my Star Trek.
They say that shit, everything.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm willing to give this more of a shot than that, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it is a trailer. We don't know. And I want to give it a chance. I absolutely want to, and I'll watch every episode and I'll judge it. And then even if I hate every episode of season 1, I'll talk about and review every episode of season 2. Because that's who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm going to watch Star Trek. And give it every chance. I mean, if I didn't, we would have been like, oh, we're not going to watch Next Generation anymore. It sucks. Okay. Well, that whole first season is kind of rough.
Right.
Even though it's really not. Like, there's like 2 episodes that were particularly rough.
Right. It has its problems, and it's paced a little more slowly than other stuff, and they hadn't figured out the characters yet. And there's some problems, but it's not horrible. It's not the worst thing.
I think when Star Trek does a comedy movie or a comedy episode or whatever, or more comedically themed episode or scenes or whatever, it's always best, but it's usually done with the characters, at the character's expense. It requires us to have known the character, and I feel like they tried to bake in some really like obvious Star Trek archetypes.
For sure, yeah.
To like get us to like laugh along with this. And I mean, I'm like, okay, you made like a crotchety doctor who, is kind of racist, I guess. I mean, just yelling green girl. It's a little weird for me in this day and age, but
that is a little strange. The doctor, a Starfleet doctor, wouldn't know what race she is, possibly, or like would call her green girl. That is strange.
Yeah, I thought it was weird, and it was like, it's kind of playing on I feel like it's playing on the Dr. McCoy, Dr. Pulaski archetype. But, also, this is like the late 24th century. This is actually set like a year after Nemesis.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like there was, and they might play with it. I don't know. I feel like there is an opportunity, if they cannot take themselves super seriously, there's an opportunity to play with the idea of the 24th century and Next Generation era being more politically correct than the original stuff. And sort of, joking around with that. Like they did that in Next Generation with like Scotty showing up and like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Or, Spock and Picard's, conversations about cowboy diplomacy. And, I don't know. There's a lot that they could really play with. And I don't know if they're not going to do it, but I'm not seeing it yet. It just feels like, here's our first officer who's handsome and rips off his shirt. And here's our, soft-spoken but, hard-hitting captain who doesn't seem to, have any kind of real foible. And here's our big brutish security officer.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like I think what you're saying is you don't want this to be a parody of Star Trek, which I think we agree on.
I don't want it to be Galaxy Quest.
No, I love Galaxy Quest. You're not impugning Galaxy Quest, are you? Because I think it's like one of the best movies of all time. But yeah.
Oh, good God!
I do. I think that movie is awesome. Just like completely awesome.
I don't think it's one of the best movies of all time. I think
great.
it's.
I'm sure I'm overstating that, but I do really love that movie. I watched it recently and I was like, this is, because I think that movie strikes what now Marvel is doing before it was a thing. Like if you rewatch it now, it has the tone where like it can switch between a really serious moment and like super comedy, and like it can be a self-referential joke on itself while it is also an action and adventure story that you care about and can get emotionally wrapped up in at moments. I think that movie is way ahead of its time in many ways.
I mean, because Indiana Jones was doing that.
Sure.
Star Wars was doing that.
Star Wars was not doing that.
Star Wars was absolutely doing that.
That's not in the same way. Indiana Jones is a good one. I think we won't get on Star Wars because I'll just go too deep on Star Wars. I'm not saying they don't try.
Comedy beats between Chewie and Han. You got the stupid droids. Like, yeah, I mean, it's all there.
But then do you ever care, though?
I never cared in Galaxy Quest.
Oh, come on. When Mathazar is being tortured and finds out that his life is built on a lie, and then when Rickman, in all sincerity, looks at a dying guy who has based his entire life on his character and repeats the line that he's been tired of saying with all sincerity, he looks at him, "By Grapthar's hammer, I will avenge you," just so he can believe one last time in the fantasy. Dude, that stuff is amazing. I weep.
Alan Rickman does his job and makes me feel a little something. But that alien he's talking to, the photographer from Just Shoot Me, it was so annoying, I was happy to see him go. All those aliens were so annoying. Oh, God. Ugh. And I think I would have liked the movie a lot more if those aliens weren't so freaking annoying. But
I love those aliens.
And also, Tim Allen's a dick. I just don't like Tim Allen.
You can not like Tim Allen as a person, but like he's great in that movie.
I mean, he's fine.
And yes, they make Star Trek jokes. Like the idea that they're going to make a comedy Star Trek cartoon and not reference or play on the archetypes of Star Trek, which are archetypes, and as much as you want to resist them, like they are there. They're stereotypes for a reason. Kirk did lose his shirt. Gave excuses to lose his shirt.
Boring joke now.
Well, yes, but the joke they're making here is not that joke. That's the joke they were making in Galaxy Quest, and I don't think it was tired then. I think it was a good joke. The joke they're making now is those guys are the heroes, we're not. And then that moment where the first officer loses his shirt in the trailer, I don't think is the same joke that Galaxy Quest. It's set in the same. It's playing off the same trope, but it's going to be setting up the difference between that guy and the guy on the crew, and I think that's fine. It's using shorthand that we all know to establish who these people are in relation to the like crew we're used to watching.
I don't think I thought about it until I saw the obvious like I'm like Kirk thing, but I sort of thought like it would have been funnier if they had, since this is a TNG era show, if they were aiming more at Riker and less at Kirk. Because, as much as people say, oh, Riker was just a Kirk, knockoff, that's not true. He wasn't. He was much more rigid, more uptight than Kirk was at times.
For sure.
I don't want to get wrapped up in criticizing the show for not doing what I think they should have done. Especially since we haven't even seen a real episode or anything. Right. I have to admit, I really hope that like cold beer, like, it, bro, bullshit. I really am just hoping that is like something that's in the minds of one of the lower deck people about how, like, imagining how the senior officers act, because I hated that so much. I thought it was so stupid.
You're far more easily annoyable than I am about characters and certain archetypes and stuff. I actually think it's good that they're not just going after Riker. I think it's good that like the guy is clearly a Riker type because he's the first officer, but he's an actual combination of Riker, and then the clear shirt coming off is a Kirk reference, and it's like I'd rather them make it. Not one-to-one comparisons. That keeps the storylines kind of open and different. Yeah. But they're just going for like, this is the type of guy who does this type of thing. And I know that bothers you because you don't think Kirk and Riker are similar, but they are the sort of like heartthrobby type character from each of the two C's series, you know?
A little bit. It's just the I understand it's comedy. They think they've got to be broad, and maybe they won't be as broad when the show is actually on. This is just a trailer. This is just how they're marketing it. I absolutely give it a chance. Now, the one line I did laugh at: "We live on a spaceship. Nobody is dying from a spear wound."
Yeah, that was pretty great.
That cracked me up. Every time I watched it, I laughed at that line.
That's great.
So, I'm I'm hopeful. I did like the idea, and that's one of the things I liked from the movies. I like the idea that their ship, the Cerritos, is always falling apart. I really liked that from Star Trek V. That was one of those comedy beats from Star Trek V that I actually liked, and I hear people complain about that. I'm like, why? That's actually a good beat. I like the idea that they just sort of like, we have this old troubled ship. Either that or we just built it in a hurry. We don't know. They never actually say it. Most of us, just kind of headcanon it and say it was the Yorktown and they renamed it the Enterprise. It was an old piece of shit falling apart thing. Whatever. Either way, they cobbled something together to give to Kirk and crew to shut them up or to placate them or whatever. And and they go to walk onto the bridge and the doors don't open. Just all sorts of horrible stuff happens. I think that's funny. I like the idea of like the future technology not working.
Yeah.
So I'm down with that part of it. And I know a lot of people who did not like that in Star Trek V. So, I can't help them there. I understand. There's a lot of hangups I'm having right now in this trailer. I don't want to have them, but I'm having them. And I would rather be, I'd rather be honest with the listener than just be like, oh man, it's going to be the greatest show ever.
We don't tend to
do that.
We don't tend to do that, but I think that this show has potential. I'm not like off board or anything, but I do think that there's I don't know that it's going to be for me, which is sad because I love Star Trek, and it's okay if there's some Star Trek that's not for me. I'm not even upset at that idea. But we'll see how this goes. We'll just see how it goes, I guess.
I am existing in this weird place where I feel like I am confronted with this notion as an adult for the first time, really, that there might not be Star Trek for me. There might be Star Trek that is just not for me. And I don't know how to feel about that. But if the brand is to grow, that is an eventuality I'm going to have to face.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's all for me, then there are lots of people it's not for.
Yeah.
So, the question is, can I adapt and grow and appreciate for what it is and move on with my day?
And the answer is no. I mean,
I will always talk about how bad Voyager is. But
yeah, I hear you.
There's a lot of Voyager I actually enjoy to some small degree. Like I can still go I could throw it on the background and be interested enough in a Law and Order type of way to be like,
in a Law and Order type of way.
You know how you just sort of like, okay, wait, no, what are you doing? Okay.
Yeah. I hear you.
It's not, no pun intended, but it's not engaging me.
Right. All right. Well, any final thoughts about this trailer before we let the people go on with their day after we depress them? Now that we've talked about our sort of down thoughts about this here new form of Star Trek.
You didn't seem to have down thoughts about it.
Well, I think we both. There's a number of things I like about it. But overall, I said I don't think it's for me as of now, and so
that's true.
I think we're both not excited about this trailer as much as we are the prospect of new Star Trek, and I love the idea that we're getting new Star Trek like really soon. You know, that's exciting to me, and something to talk about and cover, and be excited about it. Every time we get on here to talk about Star Trek, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So I having more of that is not a bad thing. But
yeah, I have not been able to find the news for it, but there was something I heard about a director that I like developing a Star Trek movie or pitching a Star Trek movie, and I can't remember who it was. I can't find a reference to it, but it was like they were waiting to see what Noah Hawley did with his Star Trek movie. And I'm just like, man, I'm interested. I am in a place now, and I'm going to complain about this trailer, but at the same time, I'm very excited. I want all the directors, all the creative minds to have their shot at Star Trek. I don't care if it's canon. I don't care. We can throw it in the multiverse. We can say it's an imaginary tale like DC used to do before they said, okay, multiverse, do whatever you want to do. I want to see different takes on Star Trek. I feel like I had my run at like a cohesive canon that ended in 2005, and I don't care anymore.
Right.
Just like I had my Star Trek cinematic universe, as it were. Let's just see what happens. Let's do new things, and let's see new takes on the material.
I hear that.
So I'm down with it. I'm very interested to see what they do. And even though I'm not all that excited about this trailer, I'm excited to see the show, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about it come August 6th or 7th or whatever. And I don't know. I know you've previously mentioned that this might not be for you, even in this episode, but so much so that you said previously. You said you might not even want to review every episode on the cast. I think I'm going to anyway, whether you do it or not.
Yeah, man. I fully support that. I think I will.
Okay.
It would have to be particularly bad for me not to. We'll just see how we feel about it.
Yeah, man.
I'm very open. I'm open to all this stuff. I just it's generally this with the exception of Rick and Morty, and I do feel like it's those particular creators. I don't follow that much animation. It's just normally not for me, and that's there's nothing wrong with that. it's just not my jam. And I know I'm probably missing out on some good stuff because of that, but it's that's just where I am.
Yeah. I mean, that's I definitely see the influence, but I don't think they're ripping off anything because it is one of the main people who made Rick and Morty what it is,
right?
And, so, whatever. I'm down. I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah, man. Me too. Me too. So, guys, be excited. New Star Trek coming in like weeks. Like we're in such a world, man. Such a world that like
it's a weird world.
There's so much content that we have a hard time keeping up with it, and we don't even know when it's coming. Like it's like 2 or 3 weeks away. We'll be getting new Star Trek. Like that's crazy. That's August 6th. So what night of the week is that?
Oh hell, I don't know.
I'm just curious, like when we'll be doing these things.
Oh, that's a Thursday. So
okay. When did Discovery and Picard come on? Do you know?
I think it was different days, and I think Discovery was different. Like I know season 1, I think was like Sunday night.
That's right.
And then they changed it. So I honestly probably we're talking about recording on a Saturday day or something like that.
Okay.
For me,
we'll figure it out as we go
because of my work schedule being kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to watch it until later. But yeah, I'm down to clown. Let's do it.
Let's clown. All right, guys. Well, thanks. Check us out. strandedpanda.com/Star Trek. You know what? I don't even think we have a page on there yet. Maybe we do. I can't remember.
What are you asking me about?
On strandedpanda.com. I don't know if we have a page yet.
Oh, I don't know.
I think I was working my way down the list, and I think we still go anyway. Soon we'll have strandedpanda.com/STU. And that will be our home for, but if you go to strandedpanda.com, you can find me and Dave's, all of our other podcasts and such. So,
or you can go to StarTrekUcast.com. Whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're subscribed to us in whatever podcatcher you use, you don't need the site. You just don't.
Well, no, but the point of Stranded Panda is that they can see our other shows, Dave, not this one. That's what I'm trying to tell everyone, is go to strandedpanda.com. You can find all our shows.
Yeah, I don't know how it works.
That's why we gave them one website to go to. It's easy peasy. Anyway, peace out, guys. We'll be back soon, really, in just a few weeks, if not before, if nothing else crazy drops.
Yep.
Peace.
Joel on true and live long and prosper.
Damn it, I'm the worst. Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.